Oh my God. I see the red light. Does that mean we're on?
Yes.
This is where Tim starts to shut down. Watch.
Whoa, 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 whoa.
Sorry about the smoke, but my wife's not home and I never smoke inside. And guess what I'm doing?
Whatever the fuck you want because it's quarantine.
That's right.
Oh my gosh, yes. If this isn't a time to cut ourselves some slack, when is?
Oh yeah, but you know, it's been a time to learn to cut myself some slack. I've learned a little bit more about self-love, and it's okay. It's okay to love me a little bit.
Yes, Tim. Oh, I didn't even say it. This is Tim Demers. This is the Tim Demers that we have on the Pish Tosh Podcast right now. I am so honored right now. Tim Demers runs the Grievous Gallery in Little Salisbury, North Carolina, my hometown that I miss very much. And there's the train, if anyone can hear that. She shall pass.
What, there's a train on your end?
Yes. Actually, I could show you.
Yes.
That's it. If you can see
well,
that.
You know there's going to be a train on this end.
Is there?
There will be a train on this end. I am positive. So, in that case, I'll have to show you my train.
Yes! I would love that. Oh, train share. Nice. Oh, there's another one. It might be on the other side. This is great. I'm definitely having to post this video. Y'all look out for this. I'll add a link in the description of this podcast. Oh, that's so meta. That kind of hurt my brain saying that just now.
It sounds so good, though. It's so natural. This is great.
Nice. Everyone knows that time is an illusion, especially this podcast.
And pain is only temporary.
That's right. That's right. So do you want to elaborate on some of the self-love? Because I've been doing the same thing. It's so important.
Oh, my God. So being a brain injury survivor, I've had to learn a lot about the new self. So, you know, like a lot of people know, on the day of 12/12/12, suffered a traumatic brain injury, resuscitated 4 times. So that's how the Grievous Gallery was born. And that whole glass breaking thing. And, but I have this last, I'll say, 8 months has been, you know, closing my eyes, evaluating self without being too critical and learning who's on the inside. And I'm starting to really dig myself a little more.
Yes.
Because I have been horrible to myself. I've listened to what, you know, when I could have 1,000 people say, oh my God, I love you. And I have that one that goes, you know, you rub me the wrong way. And it'll freaking ruin everything.
Yes. Yes. And that's what you remember for years. And like.
For years.
Yes.
Yeah. And you're trying to fix it and trying to fix it and trying to fix it. And it got much more difficult after the brain injury because I had to somehow, some way prove to everybody that I'm okay. And, you know, they go, hey, you've always been crazy. I was like, you know, this is different.
Yeah.
This is different. And so being at home and then having the world quiet around me, because, you know, I was really enjoying Salisbury, especially when it felt like the night of Christmas Eve. It's quiet, you know, there wasn't a lot of just noise and things like that, no trains. And it just created an atmosphere for me to go, I'm gonna be good to myself. I'm gonna figure out who the hell I am and what am I doing here. Again and again and again and again.
That is such a good point too, because it's something you have to learn every day, and with so much time just to ourselves, it's exhausting. I mean, we exhaust ourselves. I'm not speaking for you, but I just exhaust myself when I'm
same here.
All day.
Same here. It is absolutely exhausting, and but you know, good things come with a price. Yes. So I like to chalk that up to, you know, where you're weak in one area, you'll be really strong in another. And that's how but again, I have to say that every day.
Right. It's not something you look at and then it's
single day.
Yeah.
So I got this routine. I wake up and usually the first word that comes out of my mouth is, fuck, I'm still alive. And And I love being alive. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
I go into the shower, and I'm learning certain songs or tones or things that help put me back together again. And then I try to face the day as new and as valuable and as precious. And usually about partial way through the day, I've reached a point of being well with myself. And then somewhere around 4 or 5 o'clock, I crash, and then I have to take an old man 15-minute nap. And then after that, it's just freestyle.
Nice. Oh my goodness, that's awesome. And yeah, we all have new patterns, new routines, and it's so fascinating. I'm even just seeing you right now is cheering me up even more than I imagined it would, because I've been back and forth with the Zoom, because sometimes I've gotten my hopes up real high and then been oh, it's not the same. But I think my expectations were okay, this is a computer, it's not going to be the same, but this is giving me a lot of good feelings right now. Good vibes. Good. To your face in real time and everything. And it's we're kind of giving ourselves gifts like that.
It's the new opportunity and seeing things from a different angle. And this is a different angle for me. There's no doubt. And it's a different angle for Asshead back here. You see him?
Yes, that's awesome. What is his name again?
Asshead.
Asshead?
Yeah. And he's got a family. His brother is Little Mayo. He's at the gallery. And then there's John.
And then John?
He's the black sheep of the family. Yeah.
Oh, no. Uh-oh. John's always getting in trouble. Oh, man.
Just doing stuff. Usually trying to, he says really inappropriate things. But I've realized whether you're an alien or a puppet, you can pretty much say anything you want to, and you can't get mad.
That's right. That's right. I am really trying hard not to make a political statement right now about puppets being able to say whatever they want to, but I'm trying to avoid it, but it's there. We'll just let that go.
Oh my God, there's so many puppets.
Horrible.
So many puppets, and I am the last on the political roll, and I literally will stand back and just look at things going on, and my heart breaks for people that are just struggling with the confusion and the weighing and measuring of everything, but there's so much trust in man that we're going to let you down. You have to really, again, for myself, I have to dig in really deep for truth and understanding and strength and kindness and all these other things, because I can't rely on anybody else to bring it to me.
Absolutely. And I'm going to try not to get super emotional, but if I do, I feel very in a safe place with you to do that too.
Well, I thank you. I appreciate that, because it's turned into, my new life, with the gallery, and a part of helping me deal with my shortcomings is listening to others display or to tell me about their pains and their shortcomings and the things that set them off and the things that make them happy. One of the things, I was sitting down with high-risk youth, and they brought them into the gallery. It'd be the third year they were in the gallery, and so every year it's a new group of students. I say young people because you don't call them kids. Don't do. And I asked them, I said, yo, and I'm not asking this question to be invasive, but how are you good to yourself? What do you do that's good for you? Mm-hmm. And I've asked this to adults. I've asked this to doctors, because most of my counselors, psychiatrists that helped me through PTSD recovery and grief recovery are now customers of the Grievous Gallery. And when I asked them, there's been no good answer except for one. And this little lady looks at me, she goes, I take naps sometimes. And I was like, oh, can't go wrong with that. Because everybody else was a little bit like, well, I like to take time to get my nails done, fix up, and blah, blah, blah. And I don't go, well, sometimes I go, well, no, what about you? What did you do for you?
Yeah, and there's so much guilt around even admitting it, even if they are taking those steps, like saying it in front of their peers. is almost like a shaming thing. And we need
Yeah.
to like, no, you're not narcissistic. You're not selfish for thinking of
That's hard. That's a hard lesson because it's like that pride balance. It's like, you know, I'm not being, you know, prideful. And when I mean prideful, I mean like, hey, look what I can do. You know, I'm going to fix you and I'll tell you what to do. Because no, I have no idea what the fuck I'm doing, you know, whatsoever. So reinvention of self on a day-to-day basis. Do my best to guard my heart. I absolutely love putting comedy into hurtful situations for myself. I don't do it for others, but I'm open game. So when I'm having a bad day, I will say exactly what I'm feeling in with love and compassion for myself, but it's comedy. Yes. And my wife, that's how I get to communicate, especially on some really deep feelings or thoughts about things. And communication is key. Even if it's bad jokes, bad timing, good jokes, great timing.
That's a conversation.
Yeah. Yes.
100%. I feel like I woke up in like a new skin this morning, feeling so good, and it was such an unfamiliar feeling. I had a therapy session yesterday that was, of course, during I hate it, but then afterward, I'm like, I'm better for it. I've grown. I feel I like myself more. I, trust myself more. And one of the big takeaways yesterday was about mindfulness, about how little control we have over, how we have no control over anything that's happened or anything that will happen. And the only place that we have power or control is in the moment. And I typically hate sitting with myself sober in the moment. And it's what I've had to do so much lately, but I'm always trying to distract and ignore and push, all my thoughts to the past or the future. And so I've been practicing meditating very, very recently, and it's hard.
Well, I'm such a spiritualist, and it's so cool because when I think I've got a good grasp and an understanding on things, especially living in a 150-year-old haunted Victorian house, I think I have an understanding for spiritualism and spirits and things like that. I really don't have any idea until recently. The world got quiet, and looking in on self, I have learned so much, and each day I'm at peace and more and more and more. And I'm finally getting the saying, be in the pursuit of peace. And I'll tell you what, I am running after it as hard and as fast as I can, because if I don't have it, I can't give it.
Yes.
How you like that?
I love that. And honestly, it wouldn't have made sense to me before yesterday, because my therapist asked, she's like, have you been successful in handling some of your more elevated emotions and things like that? And I was like, at first was like, well, no. And then as we kind of went into it more, be like, well, actually, by not using the same pathways, by not using the same negative behavior that you've used before, you might not feel better, but you've created a tiny pinch of a start of a block, where you can start avoiding that and get comfortable sliding into what is healthy and sliding into meditation, sliding into mindfulness and peace. And it takes practice, and I hate practice.
I do too. I hate practice. I don't read. I blame it on very little reading comprehension, which is true. Books to me are pretty much useless unless you're trying to keep papers from blowing around or you need to hold a crooked door open.
Yes.
And that's just the way it is.
No, I love it. I appreciate honesty always.
Words are useless. Books or reading to me is absolutely useless. I don't get anything from it. Yeah. So therefore I have to do other things. Right. To get knowledge or to let things sink in. And I've realized even last night, kind of going through, like you said, the sobering, the being in the moment, and it was 2:00 last night, and I said to my wife Alicia, I says, hey, this is going to sound great, I'm going to go meditate in the shower. She goes, you're going to do what? meditate.
Yes.
So it's pretty awesome. And when I do it, I'm really learning how to take the ball of light, and now it's starting to ooze, and lots of spirit activity happens when that happens in the house. So I love it.
Nice. That is wonderful. Yes, I feel like I actually tried today for the first time. It's like I've meditated in the past, quote unquote, but I wasn't trying. It's like sometimes you think, oh, I've done that. Or I tried to do that. If you're being honest with yourself, nope.
Being honest with myself is after I'm done, I can be a little exhausted. I don't feel like hanging myself, and I breathe so deeply that I didn't know I could.
Yes. That's so, yeah, exactly.
I have no idea.
Yeah.
I have no idea how deep that can go into my lungs and stay there with zero discomfort. And then when I exhale, finally, after years of doing this, when I exhale, I feel like I don't have to exhale, but I choose to.
Oh my gosh. What a bizarre, like mind-blowing thought. And that we can always learn more about ourselves. Physically, emotionally, spiritually. It's wild.
My life is crazy. My life is absolutely bonkers. Between racing, motorcycles, jousting, radio, the Ellen Show contacts us about the Grievous Gallery kind of on a regular. It is just like, it's just a variable shitstorm. Can I say that?
Yes, I prefer it.
I mean, it's like the shit winds are blowing 24/7, but I've learned to navigate through these storms, and I feel proud of myself.
You should.
And,
you know some amazing things. Like I see your motocross pictures, jousting, the pictures from the Renaissance festivals, the acrobatics lessons that you've had at the Grievous Gallery, the proms. I think
oh my God.
Your alien. I can't remember the one that's at the Grievous Gallery. His name? The other.
Oh, Little Mayo.
Soprano?
Little Mayo.
I was way off. Little Mayo. I think Little Mayo and I danced quite a bit at the 80s prom.
You're right. I think we did too. And you learned to roller skate pretty much at the Grievous Gallery, which was the one of the most amazing things that's happened there. And on top of that, you were breaking down boundaries and you had no idea.
Oh my gosh, yes. I was going backwards. I never thought that's another thing. I never thought I'd be able to roller skate backwards. And it was like one fall at a time.
That's what you kept saying. One fall at a time. It's almost like you're constantly learning lessons and you know it. So you're creating ways to learn these lessons in a fun way. And you are around people, especially your community, who loves and respects you and supports you. And we miss you too.
Oh man, I miss you guys so much. I was just thinking, I remember the day that I came into Grievous Gallery the first time.
The old one, obviously, right? The first one? What was that like for you?
It was Halloween 2017. And I remember going in, and that was the night that I met Caleb Hill. And I love him too. And there's so many Salisbury musicians and artists that I am just like head over heels for. And he is definitely one of them. And I walked in and I remember thinking like, what, the coolest costume. He's like dressed so cool. And then every time I've seen him after that, I was like, nope, that's just him. He's just fucking cool.
Yeah. 24/7 himself.
Yeah.
That's why we call it the sauce. The sauceberry. It takes all these spices, all these ingredients, all these things to make it something hopefully palatable for everyone involved, or people that just come to visit. Because, we have a reputation here of being the wettest, wickedest town in America once upon a time. And I like to look at us as a community who gives a shit about other people.
Yes. And the theaters, like your gallery and the other art galleries,
Charlie Chaplin used to frequent the place. There's an underground tunnel. There's just really so much. And there was so much, I think, even during those times, especially with entertainment, that I've left behind that seemed to carried on. Yeah. And I like to feel like the Grievous Gallery was a big part of having a place where people can come and to express themselves as an artist. But, as an artist myself, I like to, whatever art that I'm doing, if I choose to share it, I want it to be good for the audience as just as much as it's good for me, and vice versa. So there's my balance. There's my thing. There's, and every audience is different, but at the same time, I'm getting something from it, and I want them to also.
Yeah, it can't be all for them, and it can't be all for you. And it,
That's right.
If they're not there, it can definitely be all for you. But but if you want some for them,
there's that part too. And there's the big learning curve right there.
Yeah,
that's tough. And with comedians, singers, all that, which you're both. So look out into a room and see literally nobody, but you press on and you push forward.
Yeah.
That's good. That's good. I've had to learn how to do that, and it beats the hell out of going to college. Put it that way.
Yes, and it's cheaper.
And a lot cheaper. Yeah.
Oh, man, that's awesome.
I can always go home and choke on my soul. I don't have to write a check to somebody.
That's right. Yes, that's what I did. I was like, y'all gonna make me feel bad, right? Okay, cash this. Just kidding.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
No, and I remember that night. It was 2017 Halloween, and I met Caleb. I met a bunch of people that I was just like, I am too shy to talk to any of you, but I'm going to sit in the corner and listen to everyone and just be the happiest that I've ever been. I felt like I would just walk in there and I couldn't stop smiling, like being in the old one and the new one. Like it's got these vibes that if you're open to them, they're so positive. Oh.
I always called it, and I tell people who they're like, I would never come into a place like this. This is great. This is wonderful. I was like, if you need a reason to come, I always say, come in and people watch.
Yes.
Just watch. Just sit, watch. If you want to sip on a beer, wine, or something, fine. Popcorn. We're really simple, but just watch. And it's, it is a beautiful disaster. There are people that are learning, and most of the people that are in there are there for the same reasons I am and you are. And or at least I hope they are. And usually, let's say if the wolf comes creeping in, or somebody has has motives or agendas, I am quick to push that out, because I feel an obligation to maintain an atmosphere, a certain freedom of kindness, love and acceptance. But then somebody has got to enforce boundaries, and healthy boundaries.
Yes.
Right? Healthy boundaries.
Yes. That's
even for me.
A huge key. Communication boundaries. Ooh.
Yeah. Even for me, I have to, for all these years, I have to maintain these healthy boundaries, and then, it's nobody's fault when I've given too much or done too much or said too much, and I'm overwhelmed, and now all of a sudden I'm angry and I'm spiteful and I'm all this other shit. And then I'm telling everybody, God, what a great day to hang myself.
Yes.
Healthy boundaries.
That's right. I feel like you and I probably have that in common. Like we have that like caregiver mentality where we want well-being for everyone. And it gets exhausting for us to constantly be flowing out. And also some people aren't asking for it. And I've actually had to really look in the mirror a lot myself with that, I do a reference section and corrections at the end, so I might even elaborate more on this. But like the quick version, awesome. I've recently learned, and I was like, it was one of those things where it's like, I know I probably need to learn this and look at it, but I'm gonna hate it. But I'm gonna say it wrong, but it's a triangle, and there is victim, like rescuer, and of course this is why we say we gotta learn it every time, 100 million times for it to stick.
Really get it,
because it's gone. But you get the idea of it. Like we fall into these identities so easily, and we create patterns by doing this. And the opposite of that, which I'll talk more about this in the elaboration area, is the empowerment triangle, or the empowerment dynamic, which is almost the reverse of that. So instead of rescuer, it's coach, and instead of victim, it's creator. And it's almost like the reverse, more positive, like how we can use what we already do, our own behavior and thoughts for positive.
Oh my God, that was so well said.
Oh, thank you.
You know, because you have that, you know, when you're able to, you know, ego is crazy, and I'm learning. So some of the pictures that you see on Facebook of me racing and jousting and things like that, what I'm really trying to do is say goodbye to my ego. Those things do not define me. They're a past self. I need to let that go. Now that I'm embracing the here and now more, I'm saying goodbye to those things because it's just better for me. And that trifecta, you know, that you're talking about can work in so many ways. But once you kind of become aware of those three things, whatever those three things are, at least it's a tool or a gauge to better yourself. And, you know, if you don't have love and compassion for yourself, how in the hell can you give it to anybody else?
Exactly. And I, you know, for a long time, I thought I was doing this. You know, you think
Me too.
you're helping, and you realize you take a step back and you're like, I had very good intentions.
Yeah.
But that might have not been it.
But now you're the crazy one. But now you're the one that, you know, you're always wondering, hey, you know, how'd that go? You're analyzing everything until 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, and then you finally get a couple hours of sleep early in the morning, and, you know, you wake up going, oh well, you know? Yes.
Oh, man. And like you said, letting go of the past is one of the hardest things. Oh, for me especially. Like, I have such a hard time, and you know, things will creep up, and I'll say, just ignore it, you know, forget it. You know, but that doesn't really help either. It's like there's so much stuff that I didn't process at the time because I was so like keeping myself so distracted with, you know, busyness, doing, or if there wasn't anything to do, drinking. Which
yeah.
saw some of those days too.
You know what though? Not so bad. You've always had an aura around you. You've always been very pleasant. Drinking, not drinking, I never noticed, let's say, a change in your whole thing. You've always been extremely kind. You've always been wonderful to see. There's never been weird, or, you know, maybe that's the best part for me as an outsider from Salisbury and coming here homeless in 2013. I'm ignorant. So I just come in, and anybody who accepts me, I feel like I'm more a part of the community because I have no idea what I missed, you know, and I come here through tragedy. And then to develop and create these relationships, who am I to judge? You know, there's a few people that I pull over the side and go, hey, for the sake of atmosphere and this, that, and the other, I need you to leave before I force you to.
Right.
And this will be good. And by the way, I'll call you tomorrow and everything will be fine.
Yeah, and see, you know, they need help. And we all need help. And sometimes we're not getting help in certain situations. And so really, yes, same, me too. And so, and also I found this triangle too, because I'm like, this is going to drive me crazy. It's called the drama triangle, which I was very triggered by. Because I was like, Emma, are you being dramatic? And I'm like, no. Maybe.
Me
sorry.
too.
But it's victim, persecutor, and rescuer are like the three major ones in the drama triangle, and people cycle through the three sometimes, and that kind of makes a cyclone of drama. And
yeah.
So if you feel like you're swept up in that cyclone, you can look up the drama triangle, which is by Stephen Karpman, and Karpman, not like Karpman.
Yeah.
Karpman. And kind of see if maybe you're falling into one of those categories. If you feel like you're in a very dramatic situation, or you're in drama that you didn't want to be in. I mean, because it's like, I looked at that and it kind of opened my eyes. I was like, oh boy, we really kind of all fall into one of these three if we're in a dramatic, overly dramatic experience.
Well, that's self-awareness though. And I think it comes, you know, they say, and I definitely had a wonderful youth, and I'm not talking about, you know, so much as a kid, But I literally have about a 6th grade education. I went to 18 different schools. My first school was in Compton, LA. And nothing interested me other than being a motocross star and being a poor kid. By the time I was 15, I started putting some certain things into place, and I focused all my energy there. By 2004, I retired from motocross fully, but at the same time, in 98, I started jousting at Medieval Times in Myrtle Beach. So that was my second wave of career. After my brain injury, it literally went like this. Now what?
Oh my gosh.
What do I do? I have 3 children.
Oh.
I'm homeless. You know, you have all these things. So I had the luxury of starting from the bottom, not giving up, staying encouraged somehow, some way, fighting all the demons, and bringing me here right now with you is absolutely. And there's a lot of people that will be checking this out that don't know us and don't, you know, maybe they will now. Well, now. But every single day is an absolute blessing. And I can't. It's hard to wrap my mind around. And I do, and I've kind of screwed everything up in my life one way or another. I hold and cherish this enough to make sure that I don't. And Timmy doesn't get in the way.
Yes, absolutely. And even like that time that I came into Grievous Gallery, that is October 2017, was that time for me. I was on my way out. I was like, I just worked 8 years to not be a poor kid, and I came out of it hating myself. You know, now I have a master's degree, and I hate everything about my life.
Yeah.
I hate who I'm surrounded by. Everybody uses me, and I let them, but I wasn't thinking that clearly because I was drunk. And but pretty much from there, like, I got the opportunity from you at Grievous Gallery with Duke, and like from Lost and Found, like to do these, like to actually get out of my box. Like the first times that I was singing songs on stage, I don't know if you remember, but I would just run afterward. I couldn't not. I would run off stage outside.
Right. That's right. I do remember that. And
45 minutes.
But it also was one of those things I was like, I love that. I love that. I can totally identify with that. And I never thought it was weird or anything like that. It resonates with me.
Oh.
And I was like, hell yeah, that's pretty awesome. Get up there, face your fears, you know, whatever the case may be. Your voice and your style is really, really cool, which you already know these things. And then for you to do that and then just run out, but then we'll see you again in these big gaps.
Yeah.
And then they're growing, and then all of a sudden she's showing up with roller skates on. And we're like, this. I wish I would have gotten to know you more before you left. And when you left, yes, I was just like, oh shit. I wish I would have known you more, but you know, fuck, who knows?
Yeah, you're like the first place I'm going when I come back to Salisbury. I don't even know if I've mentioned this, but me and my boyfriend Corey, like when we were in Salisbury last, we like just had very limited time, and we went to Grievous Gallery and just like walked around the whole building because I was like looking in all the windows, and I was like, see that mural? See that? It's so cool. And like, we're gonna have to come back when it's open.
Did you see the haunted house?
I haven't seen it yet. I saw it when it was getting built.
Yeah, it's crazy.
But for our listeners, which I forget, I mean, and I didn't forget about you. I love you all. I hear you, and you hear me, and blah, blah. But for our listeners, this is like one of the neatest galleries I've ever been in. It's so interactive, and it's so, I mean, you host, it's not just an art gallery. You host events, you do classes, it's amazing. The open mic night was so much fun. The open bike night was so much fun. But what was it called? The free.
Oh gosh,
it had a name.
Let me go back to my files here. I think it was called Joyride.
Joyride, yes.
Yeah, it's just simple.
Oh my God. And you're a DJ. I don't even know if we've mentioned that. You're a very talented DJ.
Thank you.
And so
that's been 20 plus years now. So in between being hurt from racing motocross and jousting, when you're in a wheelchair, you can't move for 6 or 8 months at a time. I started using turntables. And I was definitely the kid in class. I was born in 72, so I'm like 48 now or whatever. We had records playing in class a lot, and I couldn't keep my hands off. And also, the record player was developed by Edison as a tool to communicate with with spirits. So there's all these different things, and to this day, it's my coping tool. But now I've learned to take the turntables, and I'll use miracle tones of like 432, Gabriel's tone, trumpet tone, all these things that help boost and lift me from the inside out.
Yes. I think that's what I love about the Grievous Gallery so much is it's like when I think the average Joe pictures an art gallery, they think, I'm going to walk in here and my eyes are going to be pleased with something enjoyable. But when you walk into the Grievous Gallery, it's like, my eyes might be, my ears might be, I might be able to touch things that I enjoy. I might be able to just even feel like the vibes in my heart. Like there's so many different aspects of like interesting and like great feelings. And it's so much exploration like that I feel there, like potential. Like when you walk in, you're like, anybody can be anything they want to be. And it's like, I don't know how you've driven that feeling home.
Hey, do you remember the Kazoo Kid by chance? It was the internet thing. The kid has the kazoo. It was like a kid's program, and they've done all these remixes. But he does all this crazy stuff with his head, and it was a child's program. Anyways, when people come in and they've never been there before, we call it the Kazoo Kid because they're doing like this, and there's so much to take in. And then every time they come in, they go, oh, this is different, and this is different. You're like, nope, just take your time, take it in. There's a story behind everything.
Yeah.
There's a couple shows. There's, besides all the news coverage and this, that, and the other, we have a good friend of mine, and I'm going to make a shameless plug here if that's okay.
Oh, absolutely.
On YouTube, he's known as the Carpetbagger, and he is visited our home and the old gallery as we were closing it down. And then we were his last visit before the shutdown.
Oh, wow.
And so he come to the gallery, we have a coffin ride, a vortex tunnel, some other stuff that we've built and added. And it was, go on there, you'll get a little taste of what we are, who we are. But anybody that comes to Salisbury, if they'll mention you, podcast, whatever, we'll bring them in with open arms. Of course, we'll keep our distance, which is extremely hard for me.
Me too. We're huggers.
You may end up getting a hug anyways from a guy wearing a Ouija board mask with this.
Oh, nice.
And but I invite anybody to keep your money in your pocket. Just come in and check the place out and be inspired. And if you find something you like or you want or whatever, that's fine too. But that's who we are, and that's who I intend to be from here on out.
Yeah, that's wonderful. And it does, speaking of masks too, Alicia has been making some masks, it looks like. Have you been involved in that?
No.
What?
No. I have no idea how to sew. I come up with a few ideas. I package. I'm quality control. And this has been going on for over 5 weeks every day. So we make anywhere from 60 to 120 a day, one person. That's her.
That's amazing. To
the point that I literally have to, but anybody who's doing purchases or when they do pay it forwards, I'll pass them out. I'm the only person they'll come in contact with, so I make sure things are sanitized, clean. I burn paleo in the store. I want to make an awkward experience as every bit as pleasurable as I can, and they get to enjoy the gallery, and it's just the front half. And there's so many people who've never been there before that come in and go, "Oh my God, this place feels wonderful. This is great." And then I had somebody, it was yesterday, that says, "I'm just buying masks to come back." You're just like, "What? Are you serious?" So they come in, they buy masks. I said, "Well, what are you going to do with these?" She goes, "I'll hand them out." I just wanted to come in.
Yeah.
Like, that is so cool. That is wonderful. And it is helping the gallery stay alive.
Oh,
so
wonderful.
With every purchase, it's paying the water, it's paying power. The overhead that we got is crazy. We live very, this is a hard word, frugally, that if that's a word. We're used to not having much, and of course being homeless helps with that. You see the value in everything.
Right.
But we're going to maintain this space to the best we can, and seeing what the outcome of all this is doing, we're feeling like it's going to be bringing some new and really cool creative opportunities. And I'm totally down with that.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Nobody complains about my loud bass music anymore.
Nobody complains about my smell anymore.
Oh, yuck, patchouli. You wouldn't get that unless you're around me.
That's awesome. No one complains about my bass anymore. That's so good.
It's true. All the old people, they were like, "Damn them people." I was like, I wasn't even playing music. And now they're going, "Hi, do you mind if I get a mask for me and my grandchildren?"
Yeah.
And my grandchildren were really excited that the Grievous Gallery was just 2 blocks up. I was like, "Weren't you in the city council meetings telling everybody that I am the devil?"
Yes, that's what you should say.
Just because my car has a 13 on the side of it doesn't mean anything other than don't pull out in front of me because it's really hard to stop.
Yes. And next time anybody gives you a hard time that is of a certain age, you should just be like, "Have your children tried? Don't you have nieces, nephews? Like, let's."
No, it's true.
Yeah, let's be more open-minded. Like, no, that was very, very ageist.
Well, I am absolutely proud of Salisbury, even in that whole thing. We have a church across the street from the gallery who asked me to come and speak. That we have made so many new friends. Patrons, it's the love can be overwhelming, but yet I still can't get enough, because again, I'll wake up the next day
Thinking about that.
unloved, unappreciated. There was a meme that my son sent me, and you may have seen it. There's a car and a guy sitting in a very average car in what appears to be a hooker, and she goes, $50 gets you anything you want. And he's sitting inside the car with his $50, hand it to her. He says, "Will you just tell me I'm doing okay?"
Oh my God.
I know.
I thought I was going to laugh, and now I just want to cry.
Yeah. Will you just tell me I'm doing all right? And we all get that, and especially comedy. It's so vulnerable. It's so they've in the world in general has made it so difficult, because now comedy is so categorized, and if you don't have the crosshairs on a particular audience, and to me again, it opens up new opportunities and more growth, but don't take the funny away.
No, we need.
I gotta have funny. I have to have it. Even if it's hard for me and I have to grow into it, that's fine, But God, don't take the humor out of awful situations.
Absolutely, we need that.
Yeah. Yeah, and you know why I wear a long beard?
Why is that?
To hide the rope burns.
Oh damn! Yep. Oh.
See, it just helps.
Got some focus, but yeah.
It's uncomfortable, but it helps.
Absolutely.
And I'm appreciative for that.
Like that vulnerability right there is almost like mind blowing in a way, because it's like I could compare it to things right now, but I can't because I'm not even on that level yet of like vulnerability.
Yes, you are. Pain is pain. No matter what, at the gallery. I tell people that they'll there's folks that'll come in that, let's say, have lost a relationship, and the relationship was 6 months long, and they are hurting from it, and you can tell, and you know, you're just like, hey, you know, this will pass. This is learning. But then you'll have somebody that comes in that has lost a loved one, and they're hurting, and this too shall pass. And people, you know, like to go, well, this hurts more, and this is no big deal. It is. It all feels the same. Pain is pain, emotional, physical. My toes, I've broken 41 bones in my career. When I hit my foot on a piece of furniture walking around this house, my foot feels just like yours if you did. It may not show, but it hurts the same way.
Yeah.
And it's okay. And that's all right. But move that fucking piece of furniture.
Yes! Yes! What? Yes! Oh my gosh. Yes. And also, I just have to make this a point because it's something that I have to tell myself all day, every day. So, self-awareness is great. But even if you are aware of your feelings and what, like, the truth is, whatever realization or epiphany you've come to about yourself,
yeah,
it doesn't it doesn't fix it right away. So and I always thought that, you know, I'd be like, well, if I know now that that's a wrong thing that I do, then I stop doing it immediately. And now I'm like, no, that's not how it works at all. This is maybe when I slow down with doing it, and this is when I think about stop doing it more, and I start stopping a little bit, and then this maybe when I get closer. But it's such a journey, and I always think that, like, just be fixed, and it never really is fixed. It's just growth, just continual growth.
There's a painting I'm working on, and that reminds me, in the painting, and I'm this is doing paint and pints with Shannon Quick at the Pink Robot, and there's a significance to what you just said for me. It's things seem black and white, so thoughts and things like that, very black and white, right? Do this, don't do this. Do this, don't do this. But then when you realize those things don't fix, you know, you're aware of it, but they're just black and white. And in reference to a particular lyrics, then comes red and yellow. It came to me. And there's a whole other side to that. And what I've learned, especially through brain injury, is that my brain is damaged. Before that, it's still a 3-pound booger. It's not perfect. It has freak out situations. It will send me signals. It'll send me emotions that are valid. They're there, yes, but they're also lying to me right now. And then there's that part of me that's in here that goes, hey man, that's just your brain. It's okay. It's in a weird place right now. So if you can somehow distance yourself from this thing here, that's where the colors are. That's where that's where the love is. That's where the self-care is. It's just letting this thing and understanding that it's not perfect.
Yes.
And not everything is black and white.
Right. And how the world is more beautiful with more colors anyway, with all of
it.
You know, and if
red
we can
and yellows.
Yeah, it's black and white. That's only 2 options. Don't we want more options? Don't we want more possibilities? And we have an endless array if we take in everything that we can and only digest what's healthy for us and throw up and shit out what's not.
I'm going to tell you what, there's medications. There's been meditations where I have seen and experienced more than anything I've ever done or taken. So I am becoming pretty much like, I need this in my life, and I just need to somehow, oh God, this is where brain power fails me. I need to be more diligent about it, and because I feel good now doesn't mean I need to stop doing it. Yeah. Like medication. Yeah. So I feel great. So I'm just gonna I need to maintain this. I need this in my life. This is good. I'm seeing good fruit from it. My wife is going, wow, aren't you perky, or aren't you all lit up and glowing today? And so it's just those things. I don't know. I'm still learning. We all are. If a doctor can say he's opening up a practice, well, then I'm practicing too.
I'm talking about practice? No.
Yep.
So, that's a great point, too. That's literally yesterday, the therapist said, because she said, we talked about meditation, and I'm trying not to be a brat, but I'm like, I'm bad at it. I'm a bad meditator. And she's like, but that's why we practice. Like, we practice because we're bad at something to get better at it. And I'm like, well, yeah, what? Yeah, fine. Okay, fine. So, like, that's such a good point. And she said, we have this image of people who meditate as these, like, peaceful yogis that are just the image of serenity and wondrousness, but that takes so long. That's like watching an Olympian athlete, as someone who's never gotten off the couch. It's like,
to make it look easy.
Yeah. And she's like, start with 1 minute. Because I was like, I'm trying to do 15 minutes a day and I never have. And she's like, well, start with 1 minute. And I'm like, okay.
That's cool, because you have somebody for guidance, and like DJing or jousting, I really didn't have many people around me to show and guide me.
Mentors.
And so, so kind of going into it without knowing certain things or things being in place will help you really with everything. You develop your own style, your own methods, your own experiences. One thing that really helps me is sound, and also you really have to shut. You have to think with your heart, and that's really hard. And once you start thinking with your heart more, your brain says, I can't compete. And even during meditation, if I were to fart really loud, it probably wouldn't break my meditation. Although inside I am giddish about how good that was.
That's awesome. Nice. Oh, and just in case anybody's not aware of what like a rage room is, do you want to talk a little bit about that? Like what?
Sure. That's really cool, because a lot of people, think of a rage room, and we were one of the first in North Carolina. Think of a rage room and there are places, and I'm not talking down to them, they put a baseball bat in your hand, you wear a clown mask, and you go beat an old TV set or the side of a car, which sounds wonderful. And if you feel like you need to do that, that's the place to go. In our case, I don't even really like the words rage or anger, but it's there. It's there. But in our case, you have one of 3 packages to pick out, and each package contains certain breakables. So bottles, plates, cups, whatever. But the key to this is, and it's what I learned in a homeless and a hopeless state. And I'm going to get a little deep here. Whoever is in charge of this universe, or whoever the creator is, I needed to get a fucking message out to them that I need help, and I need help now. And I would write things down on glass objects and literally throw them in the middle of the street that I live on now, and hope that somebody would call the cops, and the cops would come pick me up and maybe give me an attaboy, or at least have some normalcy back in my life. But with every time I wrote and smashed it, I felt more and more grounded, hopeful, and encouraged, to the point that I started laughing. I was like, it was so unfamiliar to me. So sharing this, or trying to keep it hid, then sharing this with my wife, she says, there's people in this world that needs that. And I said, you're crazy. And she says, exactly. So she decided to bring it out, and it is literally, I'd have to say, we're a great team, but it's 100% her. Everything. Finances, building haunted houses. What does a haunted house have to do with the Grievous Gallery and breaking glass for relief, whether it's stress or it's your birthday and you want to leave some bullshit behind you, like addiction or boyfriends or girlfriends or whatever the case may be? What does a haunted house have to do with it? Well, it's a gallery, and it's an art form. Everything is props and this and that. But the biggest thing for me was creating an attraction that wouldn't inspire, put it this way, we use no blood, no gore, no hate, none of that kind of stuff. I don't want to fear is kind of a fun thing to kind of delve in safe places, but I don't want to instill panic. And I have a lot of people like myself that suffer from such severe PTSD that I want them, even children, when they go into the front door of the house within, and when they leave, exit through the gift shop, they feel accomplished and they feel good about what they did. And maybe this time they want to go through it without having a scaredy cat bell or not holding mom and dad's hand or whatever the case may be. But I want people to feel encouraged about their visit and about being alive and breathing here in the right now. Here.
Yes. And like you said, it's almost a practice in facing fear, which is such a hard thing to do, but such a necessary thing to do to be
especially now. The world is full of fear. Everybody is, all this stuff and the confusion is
right
fear,
now.
fear.
Yeah.
That is a thing, and to be less fearful doesn't mean that you are going to go out and fix everything. Right. No, you're going to be well, and you're going to be kind to yourself, and you're going to be kind to other people. You're going to be comforting to self. You'll be comforting to other people. You may not have all the answers and all the things, but I'm a humanitarian. It's the only way I know.
Right. Right.
And I want to be good at it. And I don't want to, if I open up an office or whatever, I don't want to put, I just want humanitarian at best, not practicing being a humanitarian. I want to be good at it. This is one thing I want to be good at.
Yeah, I want to be Dr. Humanitarian.
Yes, there you have it. That's right. I want to be Mr. Rogers when I grow up. Yeah. And that's the truth. That is the truth.
Right? Oh,
yes, that's the truth. And especially, I've changed the whole look, the whole thing. I went to see Dr. Rogers' autobiography or whatever, last year, and I cried the whole time to the point that my chest was hopping, and I started choking and snorting, and Alicia's rubbing my back, and I'm on my knees just from the get-go, because I was raised in a very abusive home, was hospitalized from being beaten quite a few times. And I also remember in LA, I had scarlet fever and wasn't taken to the hospital. And when this happened, I remember Mr. Rogers speaking to me through the television. And it told me that he told me that everything was going to be okay. Just be you. And I took that to heart. And then I walked into this theater, and then that's like one of the opening scenes. I lost it. It was an hour and a half of me blubbering, and but it was good for me, and it was okay. And that's what Alicia has always told me. It's okay. Yeah. If you're crying, it's okay. If you're gonna sleep in, that's okay. I finally have permission to do things. And she also has a keyword, and it's called pickles. And that's when Timmy is going overboard. So, hey, Timmy, pickles. Pickles. People don't know you like that.
That's so funny. Oh, my goodness. But that's a great example of how both you and Alicia make me feel. And I know I'm not the only one, but I can only speak for myself, but I feel like I have permission to care. When I'm in there is what it feels like.
Well, I feel like a lot of the people that come in, I tell them, so if you just want to sit here, I'll call you a volunteer. I'll put you on the board of directors for 2 hours or whatever the case may be. Feel free to interact with people and listen. Just listen. And if your heart has something to say it. But just listen is the key. That's all I want. That's all I want, somebody to hear them out. Then maybe you can find out you have something to identify with.
Oh, that's wonderful. And I love what you're saying about feeling free to cry if you want to. Even in public, even in a theater setting. I feel like men have been done such a disservice by being shamed for that for so long. And it's sickening to even think that people still think that that's in any way a problem or a weakness or anything to be able to show your true emotions. What a silly thing that we've done to so many people.
Alicia brought up an important thing to me. She says, look at you, you're 230 pounds, you look like a giant version of Rob Zombie. you look unapproachable, you look angry, you look like a scary person, and then for somebody to see you cry, she says it's very, very powerful. And she says it seems to be freeing. And here's the catch: I never cried or cry until my brain injury. So I have this part of my brain that controls that emotion that doesn't work. So let's say a car goes by and there's a certain song or a certain tone or something around me happens. Well, I'll start crying right off the bat. And the doctors told me, they says, here, you can take this and this will dampen that effect, if not completely remove it. And I said, no. And they were like, why wouldn't you? I says, there's something about when that happens, my heart opens up and I feel like it's good for me. And then when I don't, then I'll take your medicine and whatever, but it can get in the way, but it also can help me
be more
shut up
too
and just listen.
Yeah, because it's signs. I mean, and also the reason we feel pain is because our brain is like, stop whatever you're doing. And I feel like the reason that we cry is like, take a moment. And because I have told myself so many times, I'm crying for no reason. And that's never been true one time. So even
I don't think so either.
That means something on some level. Maybe I'm not even aware. I can't be aware of it. Maybe I can't reach that part that it affected consciously. But there's a connection there.
I don't understand it, but it's there.
Yeah.
I don't understand the wind and I can't see it, but I see the effects of it. It's there.
Right. I'm the opposite of a disbeliever.
Yeah. Question everything. That's okay. Just don't lose yourself in the answer.
Oh man, this has been so beautiful. I was afraid to even look at what time it was because I'm like, yeah, let's be like 15 minutes, Tim.
Yeah, right? You're going to have to edit this for 2-3 days.
Yes, that's awesome. Oh, man. Thank you so much. If there's any other plugs. Okay, and I'm going to run through this when we're done, too, because I love Caleb Hill, and I met him at Grievous Gallery first time and saw him perform there a million times, loved it. Shannon Quick's art is all over the Grievous Gallery, and the pink robot's right there, and he's awesome, too. Alicia's making these masks. I'll elaborate on all of this soon, but I'm just throwing it out there. You guys, your whole team is amazing.
We can't forget Shane from Abstract Descent.
Yeah.
He's famous. I mean, the guy can. He picks up a spray can, and nothing but kindness and beauty comes out of the nozzle. You know.
I feel like he's swept in like a beautiful hurricane of color, like into solid.
Well, I'll tell you though. Caleb has. He's a wanderer, and he has brought a lot of people just in. He's like, hey, you know what? I want to bring you over to this place. He has a really cool way of kind of picking, and so our hats go off to Caleb. He's loved by many, and he's important to this community. I'm not sure if he completely realizes that, and but I don't either. So we're all the same. The bottom line is we're all the same. And I love you. Thank you so much for caring enough to ask me to do this with you. And that's awesome. And hey, when you're in town, you and your boy come into town, you want to spend the night at the haunted house, come on. I even have like Ouija board cheese cutters. Everything works.
Oh, God.
I told you I'm a spiritualist, so it's okay.
This is amazing. Oh my God. Thank you so much. Oh,
Thank you.
I guess people's middle names also.
What?
I usually guess people's middle names.
Oh, you probably did some research on my middle name. Do you want to guess it, or?
I don't know it. I could.
All right, let's do it.
Is it guessable?
Yes. 3 words. Or, excuse me, 3 letters.
Joe.
No.
Is it short for anything?
Yes, it is.
Oh, okay. I thought that would help me more.
Sure. No, I was like, oh my God, she has a system here.
I've done it way too many times. The listeners are entirely sick of it. They've already toned out. But let's see. Ed?
No.
Chris. I don't know how you're spelling that with 3 letters.
Let me know when you're finished. I'm listening. You keep going, because if you end up guessing it, I'm gonna do something. I just don't know what.
Okay. Ken.
No.
Tim. Wouldn't that be great?
See, that was it. No, I'm just kidding. No, it wasn't.
Oh, dang it. I got excited. Can't get me nowhere to It's porn times. I don't even know the name of it. Or whatever.
Right.
You heard that name. Brazil? Tom.
No.
Okay, I'm bad. Maybe one letter. First letter. Or second letter. Any of the letters. S? I made the sound instead of... Okay, Stu! Sam! Sil!
You got it!
Sam?
You got it!
And it's not Samuel? It's not short for anything?
Nope, it's just Sam.
Oh, that's cute!
After my grandfather, he started the Boys Club of America.
Oh my God!
And I hate this. Okay? See this?
I got you.
I'm a man of my word. And I don't have a problem.
Oh my God!
That's...
Oh my God.
I feel weird. I feel very uncomfortable. This was probably a great way just to end the show.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you so much.
I love you.
I love you.
Ciao for now, everybody. Thank you.
Bye.